Everybody has different success ladders. And for me, success is being able to provide for my family and then being able to know that we good. My biggest fear is I have a fear of failure. I'm very sensitive to failure. And I failed so much through my life. I failed in companies, I failed in relationships, I failed in friendships, I failed in family ships, and I've learned through that though, and I've become much more powerful through that. And having a fear of failure, it really keeps me on my toes. So being a dad has woken me up to be able to be like, oh, okay, you got it, keep going, keep going. I have an honor and pleasure of doing these weddings for the clients that walk through my door. And when you see them at their wedding day, it's tears to their eyes. Like now we have women that are walking down the aisle crying because they see their husband to be standing at the altar wearing my clothes. It just puts them in a whole different light. And these are memories that are unstoppable. Like that, those are memories that are gonna be last a lifetime. So, and then it's like, yeah, you're gonna look at these photos 20, 30 years from now and you're wearing my stuff and you felt amazing at that level. That for me is why I do it, like that feeling.
Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm underdressed for this episode right here. I'm gonna tell you something right now. He came in too fly, bro. I went to my closet. I said, damn, you have to see his cameraman too. They both walked in here. I thought I was in the wrong spot. Like, y'all here for this? Damn. But I'm glad I had him here because shortly after this, I got a wedding we got to talk about. Pulled up some stuff on YouTube, rebranded happening, and the website was built by the gentleman himself. I'm like, that was logo fire. Because, of course, he went to FIT. It made sense. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, today's going to be a special one. It's going to be a special one, I think, for so many reasons. One's we're sitting here and we're just connecting, right? And we're seeing, like, you're from the South Bronx. I'm from the Bronx. The gentlemen from the Bronx that are making things happen. You get both sides of the spectrum, how we grew up, how we were raised, and the professionals you become today. The example in author. Look at y'all see it? Excellence in every scene, right?
Every thread.
Every thread, I'm sorry. And excellence in every thread. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the one and only Ibert Sanchez.
Thank you.
Sanchez.
Muchas gracias, amigo.
In the building, time it up for my man one time.
Thank you, man.
My brother.
Much love. Thank you.
You walked in here and instantly you felt like family. Not gonna lie to you. As y'all can see, we got this YouTube up on here. Let me hit it. You got the remote?
I know. I gave it to you.
I don't know what it's at. So, girl, I got it. Follow my man on YouTube. Follow him on all platforms. Now, I said a couple things there. But I said a couple.
Disconnected from Bluetooth.
I heard you, Queen. Hear me. I said a couple things there, bro. But what do we need to know about Ibert and his upbringing that lands him in the position that he's in today?
Damn, that's a big question, bro. I've come from from poverty, bro. Being born in Honduras and then coming here into America. I remember like us in Decatur. That was our first Decatur. I didn't have a bed. I would have to sleep on the couch. It was me and my dad, my mom. I slept on the couch in the living room. I remember the first day we had a bed. They bought a twin bed. I was so excited, bro.
Wow.
To me, it was like, I felt like that was the biggest gift, like getting a bed, coming here in America. So fast forward to like where I'm at now, there's waves of like just gratitude I have of like the growth and the people that I've met through the years. It's really humbling. My heart is racing now because I remember just being so young and just being, just so innocent, but also being in the hood, crack epidemic, so much stuff that I've realized wasn't normal. As I got older, I started getting peers from different places in the world, and it's like, I don't think my childhood was normal. But for us, it is.
Yeah.
For us, Bronx kids, it is. And when you start speaking to other kids, you're like, damn, you went to Catholic school? You went to private school? Oh, snap.
Bro, let me tell you something what happened right now. I had a moment. I felt like you had a moment.
Yeah.
But I had a moment when you said that. When I lost it all, right? There was a time, not even upbringing, growing up, business, and then I hit a fall. I feel like everybody goes to that. On my vision board, what I had on my vision board was a bed, bro.
Whew.
All I wanted was, I was in fact, in this living room, sleeping on the couch, and all I kept looking at was beds, bro. Yo, what you want? I want my own bag, bro.
Yeah.
Damn, son, you brought me back. Not
Yeah.
that long ago.
That's crazy.
So, my fault, I really had a moment. Like,
I feel you.
Yeah, so, okay. So, in doing so, now growing up in the Bronx, all right, educated man, all right? You went to school here in the Bronx, and then you went to college, FIT.
Yeah.
Was, graphic design and things of that nature something that you always had creatively as a kid? Like, what sparks this interest for Ibert?
I think for me was just trying to express myself. I always had trouble expressing myself verbally. Whether I was always just like really calm, but if you like touch my nerves, I will explode after a while, So I'm in a state right now, as far as like vocabulary, like where my English has surpassed my Spanish. And I'm not happy about that. And growing up, it was trying to improve your English. I'm about to start taking Spanish classes to improve my Spanish because, yeah, I can speak Spanish, yeah, fluently, but my English professionally has become really good compared to my Spanish speaking. And it's like, nah, I need to get back to that because that's my roots. I remember being able to just, all right, how can I fit in America? How can I fit in? That was pretty much my biggest thing because it's such a culture shock at a young age. Trying to grow up in the South Bronx, Tinton Avenue, and then also understanding like the cultural differences compared to like, we come from third world countries. And in America, it's like, all right, you eat 3 times a day. You don't here in America. Back home, you do. You better be sitting down for breakfast. You better be sitting down for lunch. You better be sitting down for dinner at 6 o'clock. But here, people eat random times. It's like everybody so worried about clothes. I remember all the stuff I got teased about when I was younger. So I was using that to be able to like, yo, how can I express myself better? And it was art. I would be drawing, sketching, and when I got to Samuel Gompers High School, that's in the South Bronx, for those who don't know, it was more so of a vocational and technical high school. And they had a desktop publishing class, which is graphic design. And I was nice at that. I started to understand typography, the color of psychology, and just being able to see how that impacted like just my mind and just like my anxiety or just my thoughts. Even as a teen, I was playing basketball. I was like a quote unquote cool kid, but for me, my safe space was art, was being able to just sit in front of a computer and start designing stuff using Photoshop, InDesign, Illustrator. I'm nice at that. And it started in there. That's how I was able to really fall into the art.
Fire. I was low-key, you're a narrative. I used to draw too, bro.
You drew the dollar sign?
Yeah, I used to, my Charizard was fire, bro. I drew Charizard so many times. You know what I mean? And here's what I think is huge there. I feel like today, modern day, people have lost the touch of how to express themselves differently.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And one way is, of course, you didn't have much growing up, but today you came fly as a mouth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Was it the lack of you not having all this nice stuff when you were younger compelled you to be a person that was now always in good clothing to some degree?
What's funny? There's two lanes to that for me. Because I'm not a materialistic person. Like, I don't take any of this for granted, but it could be going like this. For me, it's more about being present and understanding like what's your purpose in this world, right? And then the reason why I'm fly is because I just learned to be able to express myself visually. I felt like wearing navy blue monochromatic today. Tomorrow it may be a pinstripe green suit. And I have the option to do that because of the field that I'm in, but I feel like it's more priority is being able to understand mentally where I'm at. And for years, I struggled with that, understanding mentally where you are, being raised where we was raised, or like the gang. It was so normalized, and it's like, you get, who are you? Like, you try to figure out who you are. In high school, it was the beef. It was like the black kids versus the Spanish kids. And it's like, I'm black, but I'm Hispanic, so where do I fall? I had friends that were Dominican, Puerto Rican, but I also had friends that were African American, and it was like, where do I fall? Oh, it's so many confusion when you think back about just how you got to where you are today, and it's like, how did you navigate through that? Because I could have easily chose the path of violence, gang violence, or done some wild shit out that I really wouldn't have condoned at this age, you know? So for me, it's more so like being able to know where you are mentally.
That's the bro. I can't even speak right now because what you're saying is so real, bro. Like, when do you feel you've landed that message to say, this is who Ibert is? Like, when did that happen for you? Who is Ibert?
I feel like fatherhood, bro. I became a father in 2023. I feel like my life changed, but for the better. And it humbles you because you don't make the rules no more. Baby does. You know? Baby does. And, you know, people talk about success. Everybody has different success ladders. And for me, success is being able to provide for my family and then being able to know that we good. My biggest fear is I have a fear of failure. I'm very sensitive to failure. And I failed so much through my life. I failed in companies, I failed in relationships, I failed in friendships, I failed in family ships, you know, and I've learned through that though, and I've become much more powerful through that. And having a fear of failure, it really keeps me on my toes. So being a dad has woken me up to be able to be like, oh, okay, you got it, keep going, keep going.
Yeah, that's big right there, bro. So talk to me about what love is to you, because what you do, part of what you do, is help people get ready for their big day, right? Or give some advice. And I kind of don't know exactly the details of it, but why be in a space, right, where there's love? Because there's different ways to make money. How did you land there? What does love mean to you?
I've seen my parents been together for years.
That's fire.
For years, they'd still together. I don't know. For me, love is just a really deep feeling of like a safe space, or where it's like you have sacrifices, like really intense sacrifices, and love is gentle. You know, love is challenging, right? Love can be confusing, you know, but it doesn't mean that it's wrong. You know, I think love comes with a lot, but it's more so of like, how do you use that love with other stuff? You know, I have an honor and pleasure of doing these weddings for the clients that walk through my door. And when you see them at their wedding day, it's tears to their eyes. Like now we have women that are walking down the aisle crying because they see their husband-to-be standing at the altar wearing my clothes. It just puts them in a whole different light. And these are memories that are unstoppable. Like those are memories that are gonna last a lifetime. So and then it's like, yeah, you're gonna look at these photos 20, 30 years from now and you're wearing my stuff and you felt amazing at that level. That for me is why I do it, like that feeling.
How did it start for you? How did you find this lane?
This is all art. I call myself a fashion designer, but I just design. I have like ombre coats. I'll go on my Photoshop and I start designing colors that gravitate towards me. Traveling the world, looking at different foods. Traveling the world, looking at different people. The melatonins and the architecture. These are things that I put into the clothes right now, and it just connects with me. It just feels right. And I try to do things that I only want to do. Like I don't want to fit in a box where it's like, this is what you got to do, because I was in corporate America for 7 years. Then I quit. I was like, this is not for me. So I've been telling myself, keep going in a road that you have to do things that make you happy. And if I was a multimillionaire right now, not yet, I'm on my way. I promise you that. But I would still be doing what I'm doing if I was a multimillionaire right now. I promise you. I would still have the modern day man. I'll still have Fedu. Like, it will still be the same thing, but on a larger scale, because I will have more capital to play with, more people to hire, more things to do. These experiences for me it's important to be able to give these experiences to people that look like us from the African diaspora. Because if not me, who?
Let's talk about the modern man. You got there, right? Like, my boy, by the way, you could feel it in the room, right? You could tell. I kind of feel like, yeah, welcome. You feel me? Like, I feel like you in your bag right now.
Yeah.
Go ahead, bro.
The modern day man started with my business partner. Shout out to Ed Van Ness. We go way back, yo. We used to throw parties at Catcher. We used to throw parties at so many places. Prana, like just throw parties, and he was like the big bro to me. And I wasn't able to actually write the Excess in Every Thread. This took me 6 years to write Excess in Every Thread. 6 years to write. It's called Excess in Every Thread. It's my teen book. But the reason why the Modern Day Man started was because I didn't have the funds to print this. So I was like, all right, I got to create a curriculum and then get the funds from that. And then he called me at the same time when I'm talking about divine intervention. He was like, yo, bro, like, I'm thinking about like, yo, we should start something for schools and stuff like that. I was like, bro, I have the curriculum already. Let's make it happen. And then we just started to like cook up the curriculum to make it much more punctual. We had help as well, but me and him came together and created the Modern Day Man, which is a program that it's a holistic program to help young boys become men. And we're talking about financial literacy. We're speaking about mental health, like social emotional learning, right? We're telling them about the 4 agreements: being impeccable with your word, always do your best, don't take things personal, and and don't make assumptions. Mm-hmm. And like we're teaching them things every week: how to iron, how to steam. It's more than just tying a tie. I didn't even wear ties. I didn't wear ties, but it's more so of like, yo, like when are you taking your clothes to the cleaners? How are you showing up? Social media boundaries, substance abuse. These kids are lost. So we're there to stop and showing them like, listen, let's pivot, and this is how you got to show up as a gentleman, as a young boy turning into a man. We do grades from 3rd grade up until high school, 12th grade, the Modern Day Man, and we're serious about this stuff. And we're pouring love into these young men, and they need that. We talk about vulnerability. Is it okay for a man to cry? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, what does a real man look like? What qualities do you have inside of you? We're talking to them, and we're pouring love into them every single time. We're intentional about that, and we've impacted over 1,000 boys within like the last 2 years.
Fire, bro. Amazing, bro. And for the listener, for the viewer, I kind of want to get this piece because when I asked you how does it start, you said you was working corporate America 7 years. Mm-hmm. Oneness Ibert says, I'm not happy. Where do I start to become an entrepreneur? What were my first steps? Who was my first client? Did I wear something and somebody said, yo, that's fly, bro? How did, who's my first customer? Who's like, yo, what do I charge them? What's my price point? You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like a lot of people, at least today, 2 things that it's hard for me to answer for someone when I ask somebody, what do you want to do? And they say, I don't know. Mm-hmm. All right? To really not know, it's like you have to have somewhat of an idea. Yeah. But there's some people who are genuinely lost, or there's so many people that love to do so many things.
So many things.
They didn't know how to narrow down one thing and maybe potentially make it a business. Yeah. So when does Ibert get his first customer? When does he get his EIN? You know what I mean? When does that happen?
I never narrowed it down.
Oh.
I never narrowed it down. I just found a way to compress everything into one, because I'm still doing graphic design. All of the marketing and the designing of the Modern Day Man, I design it.
Fire, bro.
I wanted to incorporate art and fashion. It's like, how does art and fashion, how does that work together with my vision? My passion is just art, fashion, culture, and the youth. So I was like, yo, how do I do that? And I had to quit my job in order for me to like really take the company off the ground, the clothing company, the suit company, because if you want me to make you a suit for your wedding, and I'd be like, yo, hit me after 5 because I'm working, you're gonna go somewhere else.
Right.
So my first showroom was in by Grand Central, 43rd and 3rd. I quit my job. I was doing UX UI and user experience, user interface, and I was like, I have to be able to take this leap of faith, because if I don't take it, who will?
Okay, bro, wait, I'm excited. All right, my fault, not to cut you. Just for the visual, when you're making this leap of faith, how many clients do you have?
I don't have no clients. There was no clients. I didn't have no clients. I had to figure it out. And I'm like, I need to find a showroom in Manhattan, because nobody's about to come to my crib in the Bronx.
So you on the hunt for the showroom?
Yeah, I checked WeWork. I checked maybe like 30 different companies synonymous to what WeWork looked like. And then I found one, TKO Suites. And my first office was about 45 square feet office on 43rd and 3rd.
Crazy.
And then my first clients were like my frat brothers. I was like, yo, bros, I gotta pull up. And I started just from there. My first big client where my phone went crazy was Caleb McLaughlin from Stranger Things.
Caleb McLaughlin.
He's Lucas. He plays Lucas.
Yes.
And
Yes.
yeah,
I know
yeah, yeah.
exactly who that is.
He was like my first big client. I dressed him for the Emmys, and I also dressed him for the GQ Awards in London. And yeah, from there, people. So it was the Emmys on TV.
For sure.
And then the host would walk up to them. They got up to him, and he was like, "What are you wearing?" He was like, "I'm wearing Garson Couture." And he looked at the camera, and then my phone just went off.
Crazy.
My Twitter was getting tagged. Everything. This was 2017. 2017. My Twitter was going off, and I'm like, "Yeah, this is a sign from God. Don't look back. Keep going. Keep going." The advantage that I have was that I'm a graphic designer, so I could do logos, websites on the side. I could do like branding, business cards, any marketing stuff. I could do it on the side and still be able to run a company. So just like I said, I never really let go of stuff. I just learned to figure it out together. And I don't recommend entrepreneurship for people who think it's just a hobby. Like if you want to be an entrepreneur, you got to be dead ass about this, because it was so much failures that I've learned through the fact, because I still have to pay school loans, rent, all of that stuff. But I did take sacrifices where I wasn't really going out. I was dubbing dates. I wasn't having no type of brunches, none of that stuff, because I was like, no, this is my time to sacrifice, because I know that once I get over this leap, things will take off. From one client, went from 4 to 8, 8 to 16. Then it started to really grow, and like the word of mouth.
Man, that's just fire, bro. You know, I think the lesson here was, for me, started with the closest people to me first. Yeah. I hit my fat brothers. Like, yo, bro, I got to pull up.
And they pulled up.
I
can give you the names of everybody who's purchased suits, my first 5, 6 to 7 suits.
By the way, I'm assuming you know Dior. Chris Dior.
Of course.
That's my brother, bro.
Oh, shout out to Chris Dior. Come on, man. Came you. Yeah.
So that's my brother. I met Dior when I was 19 years old.
That's the big bro, man. Yeah.
So this is how this all came about. Now, when we say how we know, okay, so that's how
wow. This is crazy. That's crazy. Yeah.
Dior met at 19 years old, and we went to Acapulco, Mexico together. Attached to the hip ever since.
Wow.
And then one day, he's like, yo, bro, you wanna interview council member from like the Bronx? And this is
boom, look at that. We all connected, bro. We all connected.
Fire.
That's what I call excellence in every thread. Because it's more than just clothes. It's not excellence in every thread. It's way deeper than clothes.
So then, it's just fire, bro. How you condense your skill set. You applied your skill set and your network and just let that be a company overall. Yeah,
because if you come to my office, you want to get something made, I'll design it for you. Yeah, I'll show you fabrics, and then I can
Bluetooth pairing mode is off.
Gotta be kidding me. Gotta do your thing.
If you come to my office to get a consultation for a suit or a tuxedo, I give you the option to I can design like your signature, your monogram, literally on the cuff of your shirt. I mean, so it's just, I give people these different, I could design the lining for the inside of your suit. You could put your flag, the DR flag on there. Whatever you want, I can really customize that for you in front of you. So clients get to, oh, wow, this is custom.
So let me ask you a question, because now I'm thinking about it. I might low-key give somebody a gift, bro. So my man's getting married. Yeah. He's getting married, and I don't know, of course, if they picked out all this stuff and stuff like that. I'm definitely going to his wedding. So I got to check you out. I got to come see you.
I got you, bro. We're on 175 Walnut, Suite 206A, and we're also in Hollywood, Florida.
How you did that?
I have my right-hand man, Liddell Young. Shout out to Liddell. He runs the Florida showroom.
Fire. And the only reason I'm asking these questions in this way is to you in the game already, right? Yeah. And I just feel like there's so many gems in what you're saying. Is like, what was that process? So then trust somebody to run something in Florida when you're here. Is a person running like you do? Did you have troubles doing that at first? Like, maybe I want it under my nose so I could make sure it's being ran.
I think the biggest thing for me is being able to find people that you can work with and that you trust. Loyalty and work ethic goes hand in hand, right? Being able to understand I like the way he works. And then being kind. Being kind is free. You'd be surprised how many people are not kind or are opportunists or take advantage of you or just grimy or just they want something for you and then they're gone. Nah, we all humans and we deserve to be treated as humans, to be able to give and just show kindness, yo, because we all have so much other stuff going on. There's so much stuff we all individually as people are going on. So it's like you got to be able to treat people with love, like all around. And the people that work for me, that work with me, know that how I treat them. They know who I am. They know my intentions as like a leader for them. They know that, and then I see how they work, and they ride along with the team.
Fire, bro. You know, a message to echo what you're saying, man. You don't know how far your piece of kindness could go for one person in the time you give it, in the time you share it. I think it's common for us to really understand that we really are going through something. We all are.
All of us are.
We really all are. But the hard thing to do is not to take that out on somebody and still be mindful that peace and grace is what really meshes us all together. Feel me?
Amen.
Bro, so this book is here. Yeah. It looks great. Shout out to the shooter on the left. You feel me? The
pictures. Shout out to Lord NC, Nigel Crawford, one of the best photographers in the Eastern Hemisphere.
Come on now. Come on now.
Yeah.
It took 6 years.
6 years, bro.
To write this book. Mm-hmm. How did we get here today?
I feel like this book was missing, man. You can't. I've checked libraries, Amazon. There aren't holistic etiquette books for our young boys. Where do they go to get something where they could pick up and damn, I got invited to a brunch, or I got invited to graduation. What should I wear? Oh, I got a blue suit. How can I coordinate this? Damn, I need a therapist. Like, how do I even look for a therapist? Like, why do I need a therapist? They say in the hood that if you need a therapist, then you a punk or something's wrong with you. Nah, bro, you go to the book, go to the mental health part. It tells you why you need a therapist, why you deserve a therapist. You know, these are things that, we didn't have guidance for. So I wrapped up all of my wisdom and the wisdom of my peers into one book. And I'm like, here, hold that. Thank you.
So when you say it takes 6 years, is it because the accumulation of everything or the actual writing process for you?
Both. I had to get a book coach. Because let's say it like this. If I didn't know how to play basketball and I never seen how someone plays basketball, if you give me a ball in my hand, I'm going to look at it like, what is this?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So I had to get a book coach. I wrote it. I started writing it. And then I was like lost. I didn't have no direction because I didn't have a coach. And then I found my coach, Shout out to Kristen, Patricia Publishing. And I actually did her wedding. Yeah, her husband came in and we started speaking. She was like, oh yeah, I have a publishing company. And I was like, oh, I'm writing a book. She was like, oh, I'm a coach. Let me know if you need help. And she's been like the piece of like why we finished writing this. And it was more so of like being able to have strategies of how do you complete the book, being able to find the end goal and how do you speak to the user, how are you speaking to the young men about this and how does it make sense from their eyes, so it has 11 chapters. Exodus and every thread. Damn, I hope I don't cry. This right here is like really hard work. Being able to be intentional about the things that I remember that I needed when I was young, or because I grew up with my dad and my mom in the same house, there was things that I was privileged to, but my boys didn't. So that doesn't take away from their experience, but it's like, how can I do that so they could be good? So it's 11 chapters, it's split into three sections. Also, you don't have to read it from beginning to end. You can go in there wherever you want. Right,
because it's like somewhat, not a manual, but if I want to figure out how to, what I got to wear to a wedding, I could find that chapter.
Yeah, if you want to talk about the 4 agreements, if you want to talk about emotional intelligence, on there. The reason why I put the mental first, so it's three sections. It's the mental, it's the appearance, and the approach. Then there's chapters in that. The reason why I put the mental in there first is because the mental is really important. You can't move how you move in a high success meter if your mental is all over the place. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to be able to make it. And then you have appearance. You got to show up places right. You got to smell good. I talk about perfume, dental. I speak about actually my dental work here as well. I'm not going to go in depth with it because I want people to actually get the book and read it. I speak about grooming, all of that stuff, bro. Financial literacy, career readiness. How are you preparing for an interview in person or in Zoom? How are you saying thank you after? How are you negotiating? These are the things that are all in this book.
Yeah, bro, let me tell you something. I'm batting 1,000 right now. Hear me out. Hear me out. That's amazing. That I honestly can't wait to read it. It came out today, right?
No, the book didn't come out today.
The rebranding happened.
The rebranding happened.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
It's not. What I'm saying is, I was sitting down, so I work. You know, I got a job. I work at T-Mobile, part-time. And
you got a discount? You know, no, you always gotta ask somebody. Oh, you got a discount?
I got you. Pull up. I got you. Look. And some of my coworkers who are great managers. I have some incredible managers. I'm gonna keep it 100. They are phenomenal. Like they understand what I do.
Yeah.
They see the mission, and they are those that understand work-life balance. But most importantly, they moving towards something. All right.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing one of them saying, you know, I'm getting ready for this interview. I'm prepping for this interview. Like I'm nervous, and I'm like, I mean, I guess nervous is normal. I'm like, yeah, T, you incredible what you do. You have all the numbers to back what you're saying. Go in there like you already got the job.
Yeah.
With that respect, and you're going to get the job.
Yeah, facts.
I say that to say, every time I've interviewed for a job, I've gotten a job.
Ooh, that means you're doing all the right things, bro.
Every single time I've interviewed for a job.
You are really batting 1,000.
I'm batting 1,000, bro. Every time I've interviewed for a job, there's not one job that I applied for that I did not get the job. Even when, and I'll say that to elaborate, when I was 18, I understood. My first job was AT&T. Well, that wasn't my first job. I got a job 16 years old.
Singular.
It was just changed, right? 16 years old, I worked at Fun Time, amusement park. My cousin said, yo, you want to come? It was like the bouncy houses, right? Straight illegal labor, bro. We were working 40 hours in 3 days. Oh. But I was broke, so yeah, whatever. Let's do it. I started working at a women's shoe store. I get interviewed on the spot, get hired on the spot.
And you started working on the spot.
Yo, can I work tomorrow? So check this. When I was 18, my boy worked for AT&T. He made a lot of money. 2007, he pulled up in a 2007 TL in 2006.
Sidekick days?
This is iPhone 3G just came out.
Oh, okay.
So 2007. And I'm like, well, he ain't selling drugs, bro. He came in the whip. What you doing?
Yeah.
3 o'clock in the morning, I applied to the job, and I landed the plane here. I applied at 3 o'clock in the morning, and they get back to me in 2 months. I'm ecstatic. Oh, bro, it's over. I call him. By the time I call him, he already quit. He started wilding. I said, why would you do that, bro? So I go, and I interview. Here's what happened. When I walk in, he's like, do you have your resume? And I was like, oh, my God, I left my resume. Oh. Now, here's why, though. I know y'all all like, how you do that? I submitted it online.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
you was ahead of your time.
I'm like, I submitted the resume online. You got it. I don't have to bring it.
Facts.
But the first question he asked me was, hey, so let me have your resume. And he turned around. I was like, fuck. I was like, oh, I submitted it online. So I figured he was like, unwritten rule. You always bring your resume regardless of what. And I was like, it's over for me. Right there, I start. Yeah. I'm already in the negative. Mm-hmm. Interview goes great. I know the question that got me the job.
Yeah.
He said, give me a time when you didn't close a sale. Why didn't you close a sale? And why would you do it differently? Triple negative question.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
it's
happened recently. It was a customer that came into the store. The average shoe in my store is about $80-something. She came to get an MBT, 5 different soles. I remember the question, bro, and response. It's a more expensive shoe. It's usually $300-something. Yeah. I forgot to inform her about the price. But what I did do was give her a card so whenever it goes on sale, she can get them. That got me the job.
Smart. Because they should look, that's fire.
The next day, I came back with my resume.
Fire. They probably didn't read it.
And was like, yeah, he got it. Give me the job, son.
No,
boy pulled
hungry,
up in
bro.
2007 TL. I need the job. So
yeah.
I say that to say it's important because you're speaking about the mental. And I think sometimes we ask for things, and when it arises, we then try to talk ourselves out of it. Mm-hmm. Do you see that with the kids in schools or any part of your journey where you felt like, is this moving too fast or am I ready for the task at hand? And how did you get yourself in the game?
Repeat the question as far as for the kids? Or
for the kids in general, when I go to school, what I'm seeing is the confidence factor.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't think, I don't know, I'm not sure. He's making fun of me. Oh, I don't think I can. They haven't really built that sense of confidence. I'm not seeing that too much in the high school I'm in, where there's these kids is head on strong about what they want to do, kind of in the air. And what are you seeing when you're in schools? And second question is, have you ever come across a time where you're working towards something and then it arises and you kind of, are you almost talking yourself out of it? Like, nah, am I ready? Am I not?
So these kids, because social media is wild, bro. Because we didn't have social media growing up.
We didn't have that, bro. I'm seeing.
I can't even I don't know because I didn't have that, so I can't. But yeah, they really loaded on that social media thing, and they don't have no communication skills. So what we do is we have affirmations and manifestation practices. We also have man in the mirror, where they're looking in the mirror and they're writing about themselves, positive things about themselves. What do you see? Who are you? What qualities do you want to have? Who will you be 5 to 10 years from now? That is me, us, pouring love into them. And we're like, yo, be kind to yourself. Show love to yourself. And that means speaking power into you. Then they get up and then they do, I am powerful, I am confident. They think about affirmations they can use. I am resilient. I'm creative. I will. So these are practices that they need to do. We also have a creed as well. They stand up and then they speak power by reading the creed. The creed is pretty much being able to, excellence guides me. I will leave a legacy of excellence. I'm strong. I'm unique. I will always do my best. When I don't see a chance, I create one. They're speaking power into them. Like if it's lyrics from their favorite Jay-Z song. But for this, is like they're speaking lyrics into themselves, affirmations. They're putting power into them. And we're very adamant about that. And it was like, yo, keep your head up, bro. Are you being impeccable with your word? Are you doing your best? On a scale from 1 through 10, how you feeling? And they'd be like, okay. So we're giving them that. And they also look up to us because there isn't that much of a male representation in these schools. So when we walk in, they're like, oh, nah, we got to get right. I give them examples of where I am, who I've done done clothes for, and for me to answer that, bro, I'm ballsy, bro. Like for me, it's like I dive right into like things that I'm afraid of, because I have a fear of failure. I have a real fear of failure. I'm really sensitive to that.
Why is that?
What my therapist said? My therapist said because a lot of the reasons was because I was the way I was raised, right? My parents were very overprotective of me, but also I have 2 siblings, and I always took the role of like, nah, I got to do this because I want them to see that they can do this too. And I remember when my sister was born, I was 7, and I was like, ever since that day, I switched from being the only child to being like a big brother. And I was like, nah, like from now on, whatever I'm gonna do it really good. And I hate mediocre shit. Like I do not do mediocre stuff, bro. So for me, it was more so of like, I cannot be aligned with anything mediocre because I need my siblings to see that they can do whatever they see in the house and they can do whatever they want to do, and they're not gonna get influenced and all of that stuff. You know what I mean? That was just my mindset at 7 years old. But I've never changed that. I've always been like that. And it's probably some underlying issues as well about me being afraid of failure. But I failed so much, and I've learned from all of those failures.
So why the 4 agreements? Why does the 4 agreements stick out to you so much? Like to want to implement that. And I say that because I think I said this offline. I recently read that book a couple months ago, and it did there's some things that you read or you hear that they yell to you. Like they're not even talking to you, they yelling to you. You feel me?
Yeah.
Why the 4 agreements?
Because I wish I would have used the 4 agreements when I was younger. I probably would have gotten in less trouble. I would always take things personal. I think that I would have...
It's a big lesson in that book, right?
Yeah, bro. Taking things personal can really put so much weight on you. When people misconstrue text messages and you're taking things personal, and it's like, that person didn't mean it like that. You know what I mean?
Yo, bro, it's like, I leave voice notes on purpose. Just sometimes to make sure people they're hearing what I'm saying.
Tonality. Yeah.
Okay, I'm listening.
Yeah. Being impeccable with your word, like speaking with integrity. All we have is our word, speaking power into people. I can't find myself speaking negative about people. I just speak positive, bro, even when they're not in the room. And if I don't have nothing to say, nothing nice to say, then I won't say it. Don't make assumptions. I feel like I've gotten better in that because the 4 agreements is more so of like a practice you got to keep on practicing.
For sure.
You're never going to be perfect with it, but you got to get back to it. Like, all right, let me get 4 agreements. Like, I'm wilding right now. Like, all right, I'm in my feelings. Let me get back to it. It's more so of a practice.
Yeah.
And always doing my best, bro. I try to always do my best with everything that I do. The way how I interact with everything, I try to do my best. Because I don't want to have no regrets like, damn, I could have done much better.
Love that, bro. So talk to me about this rebranding.
Ha
All right, this is where it gets...
Yeah.
Talk to me about rebranding, because I think... Talk to me in general, because branding is huge. To rebrand?
Yeah. It's an evolution, bro. I started with IG Apparel. I used to do streetwear, doing hoodies and coats and fitteds, t-shirts, and from there I started doing IJ styling. Was like styling people for like their birthdays, styling people for like interviews, going to people's closets and like, you should put this on, throw this on. Then it was Garçon Couture. You know, Garçon Couture was for about 8 years, and today we have Fedu. You know, Fedu. So
One more time.
Fedu.
Fedu.
You know, and it's a Garifuna. People ask me, like, yo, what does Fedu mean? So in the Garifuna culture, we have an event. That event is called the Fedu. It's a celebration. You know, we have a lot of food, los tambores, the drums. Ahí tenemos la ropa Garifuna. There we have the Garifuna clothes. Y también tenemos los que cantan también, the ones who sing, you know, singing to the ancestors. And it's a celebration of life. There's so much meaning to it. And then when you talk about fashion, and when you talk about Fedu, within what I do, whenever someone walks through the door, it's for a wedding, it's for a birthday, it's for a prom, it's a job interview. I'm always telling them, congratulations. It's a celebration, bro.
I love that.
And it's still excellence in every thread. And I want to give people that organic feeling of like, like we're going to celebrate you every time you walk through this door.
That's fire. You heard? That was fire.
Yeah, bro.
Bro, I've never been, I mean, I've been, of course, to say I've never been to your homeland. But talk to me about, because that event, does it happen every year?
Yeah. People have Fedus all the time.
Okay, so Fedu is a celebration in general, but I'm saying, I'm sorry, where you from again, bro?
Honduras.
Is there an event in Honduras that if I wanted to, all right, the reason I asked this question, right? Because I'm like, y'all never been to Honduras. After talking to you, feeling good from you, I'm like, when is it a good time or where's it an event that represents your culture the most, the best time to go?
You want to go during Christmas y por Semana Santa. Semana Santa, that's pretty much Easter time. Todos van para Honduras por Semana Santa. It's a beautiful time. There's so many places you go. Y también tenemos las ferias. This is the festivals. Cada país, cada ciudad tienen ferias. So you want to go to like the Garifuna towns, because I'm Garifuna. For those who don't know what Garifuna is, I speak heavily on it, right? Which is the Afro-Caribbean and Arawak Indians of Central America. So you're going to find Garifuna people in Honduras, in Guatemala, in Belize, and Nicaragua. You know, so Sean is Garifuna. You know Sean, the rap.
For sure.
Yeah, he's from Belize. The reason why I speak Spanish is because Honduras is a Spanish-speaking country. But my native language is Garifuna. Like, that's the culture. We speak Garifuna. You know, so you want to go to Honduras during Christmas time and then during Easter time. And then you want to go different towns. Every Garifuna town has their own festival, you know, and you want to ask, oh, what town? From my town, I'm from Triunfo de la Cruz and also Armenia. You know, we have our festivals in certain times, and you go there and you get to see, like, the pure essence of, like, the culture, the dances, the food, the drinks. And you just get to see, like, it's a beautiful time, man. I would say don't go to Honduras by yourself, though. You got to go with somebody from there.
Got to go with you.
Because it's dangerous, bro. Yeah.
Got to go with the plug.
Yeah.
Okay, now I just wanted to know, because I'm in my travel bag, and I kind of want to see where the roots are. Two-part question. Is there been a student, right, because your book, love your book.
Thank you, brother.
But this is the boys' version right now, right? Like, it's for
the teens.
The teens.
Yep. It goes up to like, it goes up to like college.
Okay. And then the adult version you said is coming out.
The adult book comes out this summer.
This summer.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we get to the adult book, has there been a student that you've seen in the classroom that you see yourself in?
All of them. All of them, especially the Garifuna kids. The Garifuna kids definitely remind me of me. Like, just not so vocal. Especially the Garifuna kids that were born in Honduras and they just arrived. I'm like, yo, that was me. That was me. Like, so I get goosebumps and I really connect with them. Just like being able to understand them and for them not to really want to verbally speak, I get that. But you know what? I do what I wish someone would have approached me. You know, speak light into me while I'm in a classroom. You know, speak light into me and empower me, because I don't remember men in school growing up. It wasn't that much men that looked like my dad or like just my uncles and none of that stuff, bro. So for me, it's like I speak love into them, and I'll be like, yo, what do you want to do? Nah, I want you to think bigger. What do you want to do? Nah, forget about that. Don't worry about your siblings and all that stuff. What is it that you want to do? And I hold them accountable. Whether they be a third grader or they're a senior in high school, I still bring them the same energy because they need that push. I do not play about like the future, bro. I do not play about the youth because after we gone, they up next. And sometimes we forget about that. Life is moving so fast, we forget about who's next. And then everybody's scrambling, like, oh, you know, like the reading is levels are low, the jobs are low, economy. Nah, bro, we gotta feed into the youth because they're next up. And you gotta be intentional about that. The modern day man proves that each and every single time when we walk through these classrooms, speaking to the principals, like these are our intentions. Who give us the boys who need this the most? Let me see who's getting suspended the most. Bring him to the program. You'll see the difference in him.
How long is your program?
It could be 6 weeks, it could be 12 weeks, it could be 24 weeks. And we take them on trips as well.
Where to? Where are you taking them?
So the reason why we take them on trips is because you ask a young kid like, yo, what do you want to do? Oh, I want to go to the A. Oh, I want to go play soccer. Oh, I want to go to NFL. I want to go to MLB. Cool. The percentages, I don't tell them this. Sometimes I do, but the percentage of you getting into the league and making it is very low. Especially now, you got to pay mad money for trainers. For sure, it's just so wild to me, right?
Mad expensive now, bro.
But guess what? I take him to you want to go to the NBA? Cool. I take him to the NBA headquarters, and now look at the different positions that you can be in. You can be in diversity and inclusion. You can be in marketing. You can be an accountant at the NBA. You know, you get to meet the deputy commissioner. You know, it's just. Oh, you want to be able to go to MLS. I'm taking my young boys from Corona, Queens to MLS on Thursday tomorrow. Yeah. The reason why is because they said, oh, you ask them life goals. We have this life goal practice. Short-term goals, long-term goals, right? And when they write down all their goals and stuff like that, Madden was like, yo, I want to go to the league. I want to go to play soccer. Cool. All right, we're going to take you to go see MLS. They're going to speak to directors, to like the heavy hitters in MLS, and they can ask them whatever questions they want to ask. So now, on the way back home, they're like, you know what? What if I could be a journalist for the MLS? What if I could be a writer? What if I could be like a publisher? Like, what if I could be a senior executive at MLS?
Yeah, that's fire, bro. My wheels are turning because I've never experienced something like that as a kid. Like,
You went to the Bronx Zoo, though?
I definitely went
on Wednesdays. On Wednesdays.
I definitely went to the Bronx Zoo. I would say, shout out to Mr. York. He was definitely a vendor. I know this now. Because
wow, that's dope.
Here's why. Because he came into the school for a certain amount of period and then disappeared.
Yep.
He gave me a humanitarian award. There was a ceremony. He played ball with us. He took us out somewhere. I'm like,
vendor.
Definitely a vendor. I'm like, yo, Mr. York was a vendor.
Yeah.
In high school, Miss Susan's, her first year teaching, took our class to theater.
That's dope. Damn, that's dope.
Broadway shows. And I'm like, so speaking to her now, look at the future. She's like, yo, I love what you do, your podcast. And I'm leaving her voice note on Instagram, like, Miss, she'll hate Angela, right? I was like, yo, it was because of you, like making me read out loud and doing this. And she's like, you know, that was my first year ever teaching.
Wow. That's beautiful, bro. You remember that. See, you remember that, bro.
What? Like, that made a change. Like, the way she believed in me, when I didn't believe in myself, geared me to do that to someone else. When it's like, yo, I see it in you, bro. What are you talking about? No, you can't do that because this teacher believed that I can. Yeah. And this my fourth grade teacher we did 8th grade math in 4th grade, bro.
What?
Miss Rodriguez I gotta find her. Undefeated.
Sheesh. Jesus, that's real. That's real.
So I say that all to say, the relationships that you're building with all these, there's a lot of them, bro. All right? How do you feel like that's going to pay off in the next 5 to 10 years? Like, where do you see this going?
I think that it's going to be more, they're going to be able to get into different fields because they're going to be able to create, because we have entrepreneurship courses as well. We teach them entrepreneurship. They're coming up with their own companies, speaking about how much money they need, the profit margins, all of that stuff. But we're going to have more entrepreneurs that are solid, but we're also going to have more professionals that are mentally grounded within themselves. You know, being able to actually change the trajectory in their family's lives. That's like impactful in itself. The things that we teach them, that they run with that.
So why you, bro? Why are you doing this? You could be doing anything else.
Because I was here, bro, on this planet to like pretty much make people feel amazing about themselves, bro.
Where you get this from, bro? I say this because not a lot of people are wired like you. All right. What conversations was this? Seeing your parents for so long, like
That's one of them.
and did you have any mentors that kind of like gave you the light in the same respects?
See, my parents was one of them. Yo, being from like where I'm from, every time I walked out with a suit, people complimented me and they was like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" I was like, "Yo, like, damn, this should be common." You know what I mean? But I know it wasn't common. And psychedelics, bro, psychedelics. Can we get into that?
Yes, let's talk about it.
I've never spoken about that.
Yeah, let's talk in the living room pod is what usually happens, right?
Yeah, bro.
Something that you probably haven't spoke about, but it's something that we could be, educated on.
Shout out to Spinfo. Spinfo, he owned Sankofa House. He was the one that introduced me to pretty much psychedelics. And it had such a bad connotation to it, but mushrooms was like, for me, was like a game changer, man. Because being able to really tap into like your mental and seeing things that you would have never imagined. I started to wipe out things in my mind while on a trip, right? A trip is while you're taking the psychedelics, right? Being able to really envision things that are for you and are not for you. So I started to just wipe out things and people that just didn't make sense to me in my life because I knew what my purpose was on this planet. Like the way I make people feel, like the excellence in every thread is not about clothes, bro. It's about moving in excellence, right? The thread is life. Like, how are you moving in excellence? And how are you threading your life? How are you weaving through all the struggles and the challenges, right? But for me, it was more so of like, of course, we're always gonna have things that we gotta deal with, but how are you moving and how are you staying grounded within that? And mushrooms has helped me be able to actually navigate all of the challenges that I've had, but also all of my crazy ideas. How do I align them, and how do I stay around people that's gonna be able to uplift me and empower me? And those that don't provide that for me, please get the hell out the way because you're not valid in my life. Family or not. Family or not, bro. And I'm still learning. I also took momentum education. Have you heard of momentum education?
I've actually heard of, I think I seen them at I was at a vendors meeting, and I think they was offering momentum.
Yeah, they teach coach. Yeah, and deal.
Yeah.
Yep. So for me, it was more so like understanding who I was. There's things that we know. Like I know that I'm a fan of basketball. I know that I can't fly a plane. But what about the things that I don't know?
Now we're talking.
You see what I'm saying?
Talk to me. If you are watching and you are a listener, this is gems right here. Talk.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm speaking because I kind of know momentum. Give us more of that experience. Yeah.
It's more so like pretty much figuring out how do you show up in certain places. How do you show up and how are you reacting to certain situations? And I took basic, which is like the introduction. I took advanced, which is a more in-depth level of like being able to understand who you are and like your traumas and all of that stuff. And then I took leadership, which was it was like 3 months, was it? Or 60 days? I can't remember because I did it such a minute ago, but with leadership, you have like an LOA, which is like a contract. And then it's like they give you pretty much what are things that you need to attack under a certain amount of days. Like financial, love, education, weight, all of that stuff, bro. So that's like the whole package, being able to go through momentum and then do leadership. I'm sure there's more levels to it, but these are the things that just aligned with me. And then just being able to be around like-minded people and individuals. My fraternity, just being able to see like the people in my fraternity doing such high-level stuff, that's dope.
Yeah.
Even the bros that you interviewed, they all doing amazing things, and it's like, this is what we do. Facts. And again, I do not move in a mediocre type of way. I only move as much as I can at a high level. Always do your best. One of the 4 agreements, right. Excellence in every thread. So that's my thing for me, being able to know that this is my purpose in life is to be able to actually make people feel better and empower them. I make these young boys feel better, empower them with the modern day man. With Fedu, I make people feel better because the clothes that I put in them and the experience that I give them when they walk through my showroom.
So here's a question, because we're not gonna breeze by it. Psychedelics. Since it's so buku, like it's a thing where you're like, yo, bro.
I don't speak about it much because people have such bad connotations to it. But if you do your research, it's really things that people you do back in the days. And Dr. Sebi, who's from Honduras, like he would speak about psychedelics and so much things that he's learned through it, you know. And for me, I know it's like I'm actually long overdue for one, but it just gives me such an awareness of grounding of where you are in life. And it's like, keep doing what you're doing. It told me, like, yo, keep doing. You start seeing stuff while you're on a trip and you feel like, it's just really hard to explain, bro.
You know, and I say that to say information and education. Like, I have friends. I have a friend. His name is Pedro Jerez. The dude in this same living room, bro, was 19 years old and had like his artwork or his video screens all over the city and all that. Today, he worked with Tony Robbins. He actually worked with Anthony Robbins. I'm trying to tell you. Right? Like from here and then with Brian Tracy is now living in Bali. When he came here, he was like, yo, bro, I'm gonna tell you something. Psychedelics, bro.
Oh, you haven't started?
Never done it.
Oh, bro, if you're doing all this right now, once you get psychedelics, you out of here.
Listen,
you out of here.
It's funny because he says this. He's like, yo, bro, you trust me? And it's like, yo, I just don't know. I'm hearing you're supposed to be with certain people.
Yeah,
somebody's supposed to
100%.
All the above.
So you got to be around people that you can be vulnerable with. You know, you got to be around people that you can trust, and also you got to be in a space where you can control the environment. I don't know how people be doing shrooms and they be outside partying. That's not what I'm doing. I'm 9 times out of 10 I'm blindfolded.
Right.
I'm in a quiet environment that I know no one's gonna walk in. Quiet, someone who I can trust, and I'm just sitting there, just like, and just letting it go through my body. I'm envisioning things I'm seeing, and I also write my intentions down before that. I write it down, like, yo, like, all right, I'm gonna be able to do this. My intention is to bring light into this. My intention is to finish the book. You know, like these are things that I've written down, and while I'm in the trip is usually about 5 to 6 hours, I'm going through all of those motions, and you see ancestors. You know, you get to see a lot of visuals that make sense while you're there at that moment, and then you take for it whatever you want to take from it. And for me, ever since I've been connected with that, I've been taking off. I've never said this. I've never said this. I don't speak about this, but that's been the reason why I've been taking off, because I know what I'm here to do.
Bro, you know it's crazy as you say that, because I thought it was Will Smith, that book up there. Will talks about it in his book. All right, and that was that. When I talk about, all right, that's the interview right there. When I get that dude on this show, bro.
Oh, you will.
Yeah, Will's the guy that I looked at not only because of
the slap.
Damn, my boy, Will ain't gonna let that one up. But I've studied Will for a very long time. Will's birthday's the 25th. My birthday's the 30th. It's a lot of stuff that Will has done that I've looked at and say, you know, because the world today be quick to try to cancel somebody and forget about the legacy.
Yep, facts.
And what he's done, right? Yeah. I resurfaced the book. And thinking about, when's the last time you did something for the first time? Is what's been on my mind. Like, what, to really unlock some things, you got to do different things, right? So where have I not explored that I need to explore? Being honest, the Bible, I never read it. And I'm actually starting to read the Bible now. Right? From I believe, not this.
You know, I've never read the Bible too, bro. But I'm
connected.
I'm connected too, bro.
That's my man.
Yeah, I have so much faith, but I've never read the Bible, bro.
I've never read it. I'm like, how do I have all this and not know at least what other people are claiming or speaking about? All right, let me get informed with the source first.
Facts.
Because this information I felt amongst everything I've been going through, I get connected. I get my moments where I pray, I do a lot, but it's like, but I don't know.
That's real.
How about I get to know? You know what I'm saying?
So speaking of that, not to cut you off, so I actually, when I'm praying, I'm actually speaking to my ancestors. And when I'm meditating, I'm listening to my ancestors. And
one more time?
When I'm praying, I'm speaking to my ancestors, to my Garifuna ancestors. When I'm meditating, I'm listening to my ancestors.
Heavy. Never heard it been put down like that before, bro. That makes sense, though.
Yeah. All of the people we've lost, the people that we don't even know who are connected to our bloodline generation, these are the people that are guiding us and empowering us, right? So there's been 3 times in my life where I felt like I almost died. And I felt like that my ancestors was always there holding me down. Like, yo, you good.
Bro, let me tell you something right now, bro. I believe that. Like, I can't sit and tell you how many times, living in this neighborhood, let me talk about it now. Rest in peace to my brother Hav. Recently we lost my best friend, my brother's best friend, Sunday. He passed away upstairs. And I'm doing my best saying nothing. I'm dealing with it now, bro. It's like, it was a hard 48 hours when that happened.
Damn.
Tough. We did a candlelight for my man Hav, right in front of the building. Yo, he brought out everyone, bro. Ooh. Like, I was in the midst of the pain, I looked around and said, bro, it feels like 2000 right now, dog. Like, he brought out people who had beef with each other, nasty beef, bro. When I'm talking about, I'm looking around, I'm like, all right, liquor's here, but nah. Like, I feel how light it is here.
It's respect.
It was respect. But to see the power of Hav to bring so many people around. Bro, even that right now, I feel like I can hear, like lately, when I talk about, I was praying over Hav, and I'll stay quiet and I can hear his voice, like, yo, chill, Mo, I'm good. Like, I can, you know what I mean? Like, those kind of moments where I kind of coping with the process is like, what would Hav say right now?
That's dope, man.
Wow. It's huge to hear you say that, because I really feel these feelings have never lied to me growing up. I could walk out and feel like, yo, there's something funny in this room.
Yeah.
I'm out of here. And by the time I'm out of there, something went down. This person got this, and always find a way to get in the room and detect, this ain't the right energy. I'm out of here now. And never got into no serious trouble,
Your ancestors guiding you, bro.
100%. Believe that.
Yeah.
Man.
Real deep shit. Real deep, man.
All right, my brother. Listen, it was a great conversation we had.
I love it, bro.
I feel like we could go about 85 different other things right now.
Because we didn't even speak about, like, our upbringings in the Bronx, or like the schools. Like, it's just, we didn't speak about that. There's so many things. Because yo, I don't speak about like the things that I've seen. I barely speak about it, bro, because it's like I don't want to talk about it.
It's one of those things that we put behind us.
Yeah, bro.
It's one of those things that I think, honestly, let me just touch on that real quick.
Yeah.
I've seen fights when I was 13, 14 years old that were so gruesome that it felt normal to see that if somebody just got hit regularly. Like, yo, at least you didn't get your hit with a bat, bro. That dude hit this dude with a nunchuck.
Yeah.
And it was regular.
Yo, people in my school, junior high school, they used to have the ring joints. That used to be normal. The brass knuckles, that used to be normal, bro. They would put the bottle in front of the door, and then whoever kicked it, they get jumped. This is being in 6th grade.
Crazy, bro. I wouldn't change anything, though. I'll tell you this much.
Of course, it's built who we are.
For sure.
It's built who we are.
For sure. If there's something that we should be anticipating from Mr. Sanchez, what would that be, bro? Because we know, as far as what you have going on here, I know you have something coming out in the summer. If it takes you 6 years to write this book, then be ready to have the adult version in the summer. What else is coming? What else you got in gears right now that we may not know?
That's a great question, bro. I always have so much stuff going on, man. I'm just getting ready for Fashion Week, September.
Yeah. You know I've never been to Fashion Week?
Where? Hold up. I got you.
I've never been to Fashion Week.
I'm going to send you some invites.
Please. Yeah. I've never been to Fashion Week. You ever been to Fashion Week, bro? Never. I've never been.
Yeah.
I've never been. People talk about New York Fashion Week. I'm like, yo, I've been here my whole life. Never been to Fashion Week.
Where?
Never.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm working towards some things for Fashion Week this September. For me, it's more so being able to empower the Black dollar, bro. Because I want to be able to take my responsibility to be able to impact the Black dollar. And it's like, all right, how can we empower us? This is my little part of fashion and education. Empower the Black dollar.
Yo, but this was fire, bro. This was fire, man. I feel like I've known you for way longer than
bro.
Today, bro.
Same.
We met today. We've actually spoken to Graham once.
Yeah. Cause I was showing you love. I'm like, yo, you doing amazing work, bro.
And I was like, yo, I appreciate you, bro. And you know, and sometimes things go into your DM, found you, yo, go see your page. First thing I said, yo, homie, sharp. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, we got some shit on.
Yeah.
And there was love, and then when, you know, everything's full circle, like, yo, you should interview my man. I said, yo, bro, I know him, but don't know him.
Divine intervention, bro. I
Divine
feel like everything
intervention, bro.
happens for a reason. Everything happens when it's supposed to happen. I feel like I wasn't ready to launch this book maybe 3 years ago because mentally I probably wasn't ready for that. Everything is aligned and connected. And now I was able to, because I come with much more wisdom, I was able to add things to it now that if I would have done it 3 years ago, I would have missed that. A kid would have missed that.
Gem, bro. Powerful. Honestly, bro, genuinely appreciate what you do in so many different ways. One, I'm going to a wedding soon. I said that like 3 times.
I got you, bro. You want to get a fit, make it an appointment, shopfedu.com.
2, being in the school, bro, it's my last week. I'm going to tell you something right now. It's my last week in the school indictment.
Oh, wow.
And I feel away. I'm like, damn, I don't want to leave this class.
And they're going to ask you, when are we going to see you again?
When are we going to see you again? We're already working on, you know, but that part, like, yo, I know I made a difference here. And knowing the presence of a man like you that walks in that room, what you do, what they can look and research, walking and being the message.
Because you're being authentic. And it's 100%. Like, this is not fake.
We're doing it right now. We're doing it like they shouted me out today. Like, yo, shout out to In the Living Room podcast, our mentor, Rob De La Rosa. Like,
I was probably felt mad butterflies.
I was like, damn, bro. I was like, yeah, I got a pod, bro. It's a good reference. This is true. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate what you do, bro. It's an honor to have you here, man.
Thank you for having me, brother. God bless you. Continuous blessings, abundance. I say abundance because this is what's genuine, bro. I love it, bro. This is needed.
Sure. Where can they find you? Any last words you have for them? But where can they find you?
My personal IG is IJAY Sanchez. The clothes is Shop Fedu at IG Shop Fedu, and website is shopfedu.com. Mm-hmm. First time saying that too on the camera.
Hey, come on now.
And then the Modern Day Men NYC on the IG, the Modern Day Collective.com, because I have the women's program as well, the Modern Day Women. And then the Excellence in Every Thread.com is the book. But on my IG, IJAY Sanchez, everything is there listed for you.
Bro, it was an honor and pleasure. This was another one. Ladies and gentlemen, so another great episode of In the Living Room podcast where we learn, laugh, and heal. My man, that was fire.
That was fire,
bro.
Yeah, fire. Yeah, bro.
That was, and the gem right there that nobody heard.